3 days before Thanksgiving, my phone buzzed. Don't bother coming. You're not welcome here anymore. I stared at the message, seated behind the glass desk in my Manhattan penthouse office, 39 floors above Central Park. A soft dusting of snow clung to the skyline. Below, guests slipped from black cars into the golden glow of the Sutton Royale Hotel. My hotel. Though my family didn't know that part, the irony almost made me laugh. Almost. Another message appeared. We'll be arriving at the Sutton as usual tomorrow. At least we still have our tradition, even if you've ruined everything else. Their tradition. The same 5-star hotel where the Cartwrights had gathered every Thanksgiving for 25 years. The place where I'd been treated like an outsider since I was 17. I picked up the desk phone. Isla, could you pull up the Cartwright Thanksgiving reservation? Already open. Miss Cartwright, my assistant replied. 3 luxury suites. Your parents and siblings are checking in tomorrow. I leaned back, eyes closing briefly as last year's memory surged forward. That was when everything broke. You want to use Cartwright funds for transitional housing? My father had spat, shaking my proposal like a dirty napkin. Our name is on museums, concert halls, not drug rehab and shelters for single mothers. People are struggling, Dad, I'd said, voice steady. We can do something. My mother had shaken her head. You sound just like Eleanor. That woman humiliated this family with her crusades. Aunt Eleanor, cast out decades ago for caring too loudly. The same woman who secretly helped me buy the Sutton Royale last spring. Caroline's voice had dripped with scorn. Honestly, Elise, sometimes I wonder if you're even a Cartwright. Ann Mason? He just laughed. Let her play charity princess. What money? What they didn't know, I'd been quietly building something real. 12 luxury properties across 3 countries, 2 non-profit foundations moving actual needles. And the Sutton? That was just the beginning. So this year, I didn't reply to my mother's message. Instead, I reassigned their suites to my staff, the housekeepers, the night concierge, the kitchen team, people who deserved warmth and elegance far more than the family who had always weaponized it. Let them find out what not welcome really looks like. Another buzz, a photo from Caroline. The family, gathered at the Westchester estate, wine glasses raised in smug celebration. The caption read, "Too bad you'll be spending Thanksgiving alone. Maybe serve soup at one of your shelters." I stared at it, then smiled, not out of spite but pride. They had no idea what I'd done with the Sutton Royale. The wasteful banquet menus were gone, replaced with sustainable partnerships. The building now ran on clean energy. A discreet off-season rehab and job training program for unhoused women had already helped more than 50 find work. The Sutton wasn't just a hotel anymore. It was purpose wrapped in gold leaf. I pressed the intercom. Isla, connect me with Manager Darden. Seconds later, Elise, how can I help? The Cartwright Thanksgiving reservation. It's still under the usual suite block? Yes, 3 luxury suites, full staff, as requested. A beat. They still don't know you're the owner? They don't. I exhaled. Cancel it. Silence. You want the whole reservation cancelled? Every room, every service, all of it. Release the block. He hesitated. They've been clients for over 20 years. I know. I'll handle it. Should I notify them? No. I smiled faintly. I'll take care of that. I reopened my mother's last message and typed. Actually, the Sutton just contacted me. Your reservation's been cancelled. 3 dots appeared. What? That's not possible. We booked in July. Not anymore. My phone rang, Dad. I let it go to voicemail. Then Caroline, Dad's calling the manager. This must be a mistake. I placed the phone face down on the desk. No, Caroline, not a mistake. Not because I was late, not because I was too much, too ambitious, too different. But because all of this, belongs to me now. And sometimes, the way to reclaim your place isn't by asking for a seat at their table. It's by building your own, and taking back the keys they never thought you had. Another buzz, my father again, then a text. The manager says the owner cancelled it. This is outrageous. We're legacy clients. I replied simply. Yes, the owner cancelled it. And the Cartwrights no longer have a standing reservation. A pause. Then, from my mother. Since when does a woman own the Sutton Royale? My hands were steady as I typed. Since last year, when I bought it. Silence. The texts hit all at once. Mason, stop joking. Elise. Caroline, this isn't funny. Dad, explain yourself. I slid open a drawer and lifted the framed deed. The Sutton Royale, Cartwright Hospitality Collective. Signed. Sealed. Mine. I snapped a photo and dropped it into the family chat. Silence, thick and absolute. Mom, impossible. You don't have that kind of money. You work for a non-profit. I laughed, an honest, delighted sound. They still pictured me running a neighborhood outreach center, never wondering how charity work paid for a Manhattan penthouse and first-class flights. Me, check the paperwork. Mom, the Sutton Royale belongs to the daughter you just disinvited from Thanksgiving. My office phone buzzed. Isla, I said. Your father's on line 1, she replied. He insists on speaking with the owner. Put him through. Dad's voice crackled over the speaker, brittle with anger. Elise, what have you done? Nothing yet, but it's time we talked about family, privilege, and consequences, I said. Phone or in person? My office overlooks your old Thanksgiving suite. Silence, 20 years in the making. An hour later they arrived, chastened and uncertain. Caroline hiding behind oversized sunglasses. Mason obsessively checking his watch. My parents, rigid, hollow-eyed. I gestured to the chairs. Please, sit. Behind me, the Sutton Royale gleamed in the afternoon sun, my crown jewel. Dad refused the seat. How did you afford this place? While you dismissed my causes, I was building a kingdom. A kingdom wrapped in tailored resolve. Isla entered with a sleek leather binder and distributed copies, deeds, financials, impact reports. My family flipped through the pages in stunned silence. Dad muttered, $6 billion in assets? 40% above industry margins, I added. Turns out compassion scales. Caroline dropped her packet. Fine, you're rich, but canceling our reservation? That's petty. Petty? I raised an eyebrow. Like being uninvited from 20 Thanksgivings? Like every proposal I ever made dismissed out of hand? Mom's voice cracked. We're still family. Was Aunt Eleanor family when you cut her off for believing exactly what I believe? At Eleanor's name, they flinched. I tapped a button. The wall screen lit up with her smiling face. Hello, brother, Aunt Eleanor said coolly. Surprised? Dad's jaw clenched. You helped her buy the Sutton? She built something worth believing in, Eleanor answered. Mason scoffed. We'll sue. We have permanent booking rights. Contract expired last month, I said. I chose not to renew. The threat evaporated. Dad's voice dropped to a plea. What do you want, Elise? I turned toward the window, toward the hotel that was no longer theirs to claim. What do I want? I want you to understand what real success looks like. I faced them again. Steady. The Sutton Royale isn't just a luxury address. It's a proof of concept, profits, purpose, people aligned. 15 resorts on 3 continents, all sustainable, all profitable, all transforming lives. Photos cycled across the screen, a mother and daughter graduating from our training program, a veteran receiving his hotel management certificate, a lobby once gilded only for the elite now welcoming those rebuilding everything. You don't have to like it, I said quietly, but you will recognize it. Outside, the city kept its steady rhythm, indifferent to the reckoning inside my office. And for the first time in decades, the Cartwrights listened. Outside a newly built school in the Philippines, a group of children in crisp uniforms laughed and played. This school was funded by profits from our Bali property. This, I said, my voice softening, is what success really looks like. This is what you never saw. My father sank into a chair, his eyes clouded with regret. I was wrong, he whispered, the words heavy and late. We all were, my mother added quietly, dabbing at her mascara with a silk handkerchief. Caroline stayed silent, her defiance faded. So, what now? Mason finally asked. I leaned back behind my desk. That's up to you. Tomorrow, we're hosting Thanksgiving dinner here, not just for guests, but for staff, trainees, anyone in our programs who needs a place to belong. I looked around the room, meeting their eyes. You're welcome to join us, not as VIPs, not as honored guests, but as people willing to listen, understand, and maybe change. My mother's voice cracked. You'd still have us? After everything? This was never about revenge, I said gently. It's about transformation, giving you a chance to see what's possible when you care about something beyond yourselves. From the screen, Aunt Eleanor smiled warmly. Elise built something extraordinary. James, she said softly to my father. Something your parents would have been proud of, not because it made billions, but because it made a difference. My father rose slowly. We'll need time. I nodded. Take it. But remember, Thanksgiving dinner is at 6 tomorrow. If you come ready to see Sutton Royale through new eyes. They left quietly. No smug remarks, no parting shots, just the weight of their awakening. Their certainty unraveled. As the door clicked shut, Eleanor's voice came through the screen once more. You did it, sweetheart. You changed everything. I smiled. No, we did it. You believed in me when no one else would. They'll come tomorrow, she said with quiet confidence. Their pride may be bruised, but their eyes are opening. She was right. The next evening, my family returned, not in chauffeured town cars or luxury sedans, but modest rentals. No red carpet, no designer bravado. They entered the grand ballroom of Sutton Royale, transformed now with long tables filled with staff, graduates, and guests from all walks of life. Thanksgiving was alive, warm, human, real. They sat beside people they once overlooked. They listened to stories of addiction overcome, careers launched, children thriving because their parents had been given a second chance. No interruptions, no flinching. For the first time, they absorbed it all. Caroline now oversees our education partnerships, developing scholarships for staff families. Mason manages community outreach, coordinating with shelters and re-entry programs. Even my parents have changed. They proudly host events at Sutton Royale, telling anyone who'll listen about their daughter's vision for responsible luxury. Last week, a journalist asked me, why not cut them off completely? Why let them back in? I showed her a photo from last Thanksgiving, my family, not posing, but serving. Passing plates, sharing food, listening with open hearts. Becoming part of something bigger than themselves. I told her, sometimes the best revenge isn't punishment, it's transformation. Today, Sutton Royale thrives. Not just as a luxury destination, but as a place where privilege meets purpose. Where luxury carries responsibility. Where lives quietly, steadily, powerfully change. Every Thanksgiving, we gather here. Not as the old Cartwrights, driven by ego, status, and exclusion, but as something better, something earned. Sometimes, you have to lose the paradise you were taught to want to find the one that truly matters, understanding. If you've followed my story this far, thank you, not just for listening, but for truly seeing me. For years, I was told my heart was too soft, my vision too idealistic, my values too naive. But I've learned this. Quiet persistence builds empires. Compassion paired with strategy rewrites legacies. If this story resonated with you, leave a comment below. Tell me, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you forgive your family? Would you give them a second chance? Your support means more than you know. Hit subscribe if you believe power doesn't have to be loud, and that success should lift others, not just ourselves. Here's my advice for anyone ever underestimated. Don't waste energy proving your worth to those who refuse to see it. Build something undeniable. Create your own paradise, not built on ego, but on purpose. Because in the end, the best legacy you can leave is a life that makes others better. And trust me, that kind of success never goes unnoticed.